Hi everyone, this is muscleytg, and I'm sure you're wondering, Muscle, where the fuck is your magdk build? Well, guess what? It is here, and it is coming right up. Stick around. Now, before we get into this video, I'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Zos, for making the Crown Store and allowing us to race change and make it so we can pay to win. Thanks, Zos. And now that we've got that out of the way, let's get right into the build. As you can see, I have the Clothing Station New Moon Acolyte. We will not be using that today. The best combination that I've found for gear will be outlined in this video. So go ahead and stay tuned, and I will let you know what gear I'm running. But first, let's get into the gear. So the front bar, we're going to be running Mother Sorrow. You guessed it, Mother Sorrow. And this is basically a dummy hump build, but you can also bring this into trials as well, and it will be just fine. So we're running Mother Sorrow on the front bar. We're running Maelstrom Inferno with the Magicka, Absorb Magicka enchantment on the back bar. For our body and head and shoulders, we're running Zan for the monster set, and we're also running Sororia on the body. However,
I am the glub glow gub gub, the swabble dabble wabble gabble flibber blah blah blah. I'm full of swibble.
Excuse me, you could go ahead and switch to Perfected False God body, and that would be absolutely fine. In fact, there is almost no DPS difference between the two as far as I've seen with the testing that I've done. I did also try Sororia and Spell Strategist, and it actually hit the lowest out of all three different tests that I did for the different gear combinations. The best and the highest numbers that I've hit so far have been Sororia and Mother Sorrow. However, the parse that I'm going to upload at the end of this video is going to show you an average parse number that I've been hitting. Which is a little bit lower than the Mag Sorc at this point for me, but that's just probably a rotation and CP adjustment thing. It probably has nothing to do with the class itself, which I've heard is probably one of the best classes to run. That's why I decided to do this video. But down here we are running one Bloodthirsty. You could run two Bloodthirsty if you wanted to. However, I'm only running one Bloodthirsty on the Mother Sorrow jewelry. Typically, a lot of people will tell you to
run Perfected Sororia on the front bar and Mother Sorrow on the body.
But that, I believe, is an antiquated build because we're not doing a quick rotation on the back bar. So, in my opinion, because of how our rotation goes, it's blockade, that, and that's three. You could, if you wanted to, run Sororia on the front bar. However, you'd be running risk, especially if you had a lag spike like I've been getting this morning. You would run the risk of having things not work out well and your stacks go away. So, don't do that. Now we've got the inventory out of the way. In a trial, you go ahead and run buy-stat food. That's fine. Or the recipe that's buy now pickup that you fish for, the Artaeum fish broth or whatever. That's a good one. That's probably the best one to run. You could also run Bloody Mara if you wanted to. It's not a big deal. It's slightly less stats than you would get from the Artaeum broth or whatever, or fish bowl. I think it's Artaeum fish bowl or something. I don't know. But yeah, slightly less stats, but it's still fine, and you can sustain in a trial no problem as a magdk this patch, which is great. Alright, so we get that out of the way. Now let's check out the stats. Stats on front bar, we got 58.9 spell critical. When we take a potion, nothing changes that, but our spell damage is at 2,244, which makes it great. Makes it so you can run Fire Breath, and that will actually give the highest buff that you can get for damage. So having a magdk group is now very important in my opinion. And let's see. Magic recovery is looking fine. That's because we're taking this cheese food here. Magic recovery goes down if you use. Let's just do Witch Mothers just for a second.
Get out of my kitchen!
Alright, so magic recovery is still pretty nice with recovery food. Your health is down a little low, but people are running this level of health for a long time. You know, we didn't have high health for quite some time. Back when Clockwork Citrus Fillet was the best to run, it still is, in my opinion. I enjoy Clockwork Citrus Fillet in almost every instance still, even though it's less health. You get better sustain, and it doesn't matter that you take a little hit to your max Magicka, because the sustain is much better in my opinion, especially in trials where you're running with new support and they don't do a whole lot of debuffing. Elemental drain's not always on the boss, that kind of thing. It's nice to have that extra helping hand, so to speak. So anyway, don't run Witch Mother's Potent Brew though. This is a throwback. This is just something I had in my inventory from a long time ago. Run Clockwork Citrus if you can. Alright, so let's see here. We got that out of the way. Let's go skills here. Alright, so the way that I've been running has been Flame Lash. However, I did do a parse with Force Pulse as well. I'll do another parse with Force Pulse on this build, just to ensure that it does work out better. But yeah, in most trials, I'm going to tell you, use Force Pulse. Don't use Flame Lash. Flame Lash was just for testing purposes. It does help out your sustain quite a bit because you get a free cast, but use Force Pulse. Alright, and Burning Embers is a nice self-heal. It also does a pretty extraordinary amount of damage as well.
Big storms can cause big damage!
About 1k damage over time. Buffed in a raid, it's about 4 to 5k, so pretty good stuff. Engulfing Flames does a very nice debuff. Affected enemies take more damage from all flame damage attacks based on your offensive stats with a maximum of 10% bonus damage taken. Current value is 9%. However, if I were to take a potion, we would see that it does go up to the full 10%, and that is due to the spell damage being over 2500. When spell damage gets over 2500, and you can get there through pots, typically on a mage character, the good pots, not the crappy pots, that makes Engulfing Flames a much better skill to run. Inner Light for the constant critical on the front bar. You don't need it. You could run something else if you wanted to. However, I don't see any other option, especially when the max Magicka gets boosted by both this and Meteor on the front bar. We're running Trap Beast. I haven't morphed it yet. When I do morph it, it will be the Barb Trap, the 18-second one. But either way, just cast this every time it runs out. Just keep an eye on your tracker. The magdk rotation is a very dynamic rotation, and you'll see that at the end with the rotation that I'm going to post. Shooting Star is our front bar ultimate for the max Magicka. We do also use this in single target fights, or if we're in melee range and we're doing okay, we use our back bar ultimate. So let's go to the back bar. Our blockade is actually going to be the Unstable Wall of Fire. You do get this for 10 seconds. It does kind of fit in nicely with the rotation. So yeah, make sure this is on at all times if you can. This is an 18-second dot eruption. Deals an immediate 6,472 flame damage, and then 1,500 flame damage every 1 second. So it does get buffed by your breath, your flame breath. So that's good. Flames of Oblivion, every 5 seconds you deal 6,472 flame damage. It's nice cleave. When you slot it, you get Major Prophecy and Major Savagery, increasing weapon and spell critical ratings by, it looks like, about 10%, so not bad. equilibrium for testing purposes. When you're in a trial, this is actually what I run is the Mystic Orb. So this does an extreme amount of damage. It does cost a lot though. It costs almost 4,000 Magicka. So you can run this if you want, but don't overcast it. In fact, I would only cast it in certain instances. But yeah, so this is not a parsing ability. You can use it to parse if you can sustain it. I don't, because I can't. A shield, because that's how I parse. I parse with a shield with a magdk, and Standard of Might is our backbar ultimate. Costs 250 ultimate, and you call down a battle standard now. You do apply Major Defile to the enemy, which doesn't really matter. Reduces their healing and health recovery, because they don't have that. But you stand in the area and increases your damage done and reduces damage taken by 15%. And then an ally can do the Shackle synergy, dealing almost 10,000 flame damage to enemies in the area and immobilizing them. So honestly, a very nice ultimate for when you do like stack and burn type things on bosses. Super good. I would definitely use it. Alright, so that takes care of the skills. These champion points may change depending, but right now this is where they're at. I'll update in the comments if they do end up changing, okay? But so Elfborn, we're at 63. Alright, well I think that just about does it, and so the next part of the video is going to be a juicy parse for you using this exact setup. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Sorry it's been a while since I've made a build, but this is the magdk for Dragonhold that I am running personally right now. And this setup also works for, well, it works for almost any trial, really. Now, in trials, like I said, this is kind of a dummy humping setup. In trials, there's almost no damage difference, but there's a huge sustain difference. You could run, instead of Soroya, you could run False God. It doesn't have to be perfected, but you can run False God. Also, another great option is Julianos. Now, if you want, leave it in the comments. I can go ahead and do some parses with Julianos and Spell Strategist, or Julianos and Mother Sorrow and stuff like that. I could make an easy mode build if you guys want. Just let me know in the comments, and I will try to come up with an easy mode build. And I'll even use a Mother Sorrow staff on the back bar too. That way, if you can't do Maelstrom or something like that, I can show you what the damage potential is with no Maelstrom staff, okay? So anyway, this has been a magdk build, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you didn't, hit the dislike button. Or if you did, hit the like button. Either way, you'll be interacting and supporting the channel, and let me know in the comments what you thought and if this works for you. Okay, later guys, bye.
I'm the Globglo-Gabgala. I love books, and this basement is a true treasure trove. I am the Globglo-Gabgalab, the schwabble-dabble-wabble-gabble-flibber-blabber-blab. I'm full of schwibble-glibber.